HAR.com was already a valuable tool, but once we were able to establish a relationship with our realtor, we had access to premium features that allowed us to feel much more educated. He brought tremendous experience, deep knowledge. I don't think we could have gotten through it without him.
Good morning, Texas Realtors. What an incredible morning it is. You guys are bringing the energy, the passion, and the commitment.
You are the strongest grassroots advocacy force in the state of Texas. You are the voice for Texas real estate. And when we stand together, we make a big impact.
We were able to sit down and talk about the issues that we are prioritizing this legislation, some of them being housing affordability, private property tax, transparency, and water infrastructure. We were able to discuss issues that they were concerned about as well.
We are here today at the Capitol for Realtor Day at the Capitol. We show up, we have meetings all day with Texas legislators, and we really have great conversations about the issues and the legislative topics that are important to us for home ownership, for property owners' rights, and this is the day where the rubber meets the road for realtors.
I invest in TreePack because it's the right thing to do. I invest in my clients, I invest in our industry, and if I didn't, it would be sticking my head in the sand and waiting for someone else to do what I need to do. If we're not at the table with the politicians, we're on the menu.
What I really like about this global dinners that we donate to TreePack is that we have a chance to learn about other cultures. With Houston being such a diverse market with all these other cultures, why not know more about the people that we serve, helping you find homes, that they're getting together, having a meal together, and learning about it. So I'm really excited that these global dinners come, giving us the experience to know where other people come from to better serve them, and at the same time, donating to a great cause in TreePack.
Being a first-time home buyer, I wanted to make sure that I was able to get into a home that would not stress me out. Through HAR.com, my realtor found me some down payment assistance, and that made it a lot more affordable to purchase a home.
Good morning and welcome to Member Focus Monday. I'm Christina Schaefer, Director of Social Media and Sponsorships for HAR, and I'm very pleased to be joined this morning by Realtor and Real Estate Instructor Zelda Cain. Welcome to the program, Zelda.
Good morning, Christina. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
It is such a pleasure to be here with you today. As you know, we are continuing the conversation around home ownership, as it is June is Home Ownership Month. And I know that as an instructor, longtime instructor, and somebody who's been in the business quite some time, you have so much information to share with our members. I know that we have actually a lot of links and resources that you've shared with us that we'll be putting in the chat today. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome. So am I, Christine. I love talking about real estate. So
Absolutely. Well, Zelda, before we begin, tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to focus on affordable housing and homeownership education.
Sure. So when I got ready to purchase my first home, I wasn't in real estate. And although my grandfather owned lots of land in Mississippi, I didn't know very much about real estate itself. And so when I went to start, there were a lot of challenges that I faced, and I wasn't aware of everything that it entailed to purchase a home, and my realtor wasn't very didn't share much information with me at all. Actually, the only thing they did was showed me some houses, sent me, at that time it was emails, right? And so they, not emails, faxes. So they would send me a lot of faxes with houses, and we'd go out and look at houses, but they never really talked to me about the process. And so once I got my license, a lot of what I did on my own. So I learned about some of the down payment assistance programs that were available when I purchased my house, but I didn't actually use them because I didn't really realize the benefit. And so after I got my license, I remembered those programs and I remembered the struggle I had. And I decided that there are a lot of people out there that don't know what I didn't know. And I wanted to share my knowledge. And so that's why I started utilizing the programs and actually sharing with clients the benefits that are out there for them to be able to purchase a home as well.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, from personal experience, that's a great story, and of course a fabulous foundation for this passion. So one of the courses that you teach is the Texas Affordable Housing Specialist designation. What is this course all about, and why is it important for realtors?
Oh, sure. So the Texas Affordable Housing Specialist designation is a certification for Texas realtors. And the goal or the aim of the class is to equip realtors with the knowledge and the skills to assist first-time home buyers, the underserved buyer, and those that are at risk. The designation is important for realtors because it allows them to better serve a wider range of clients. A lot of times realtors don't realize that people that they turn down or people that they don't assist with purchasing a home or that they put into rentals can actually purchase a home, and there are resources out there for them. So it helps them to understand those complexities of affordable housing programs, the financing options, and it also introduces them to city, county, and statewide programs that are available. It's a 2-day class. And when a realtor finishes taking that class, they should leave with a lot of knowledge that increases sustainable home ownership in Texas. And it'll also help them have a lot more sales than what they're probably having right now in this industry.
Yeah. I had the opportunity a few years ago to sit in on one of these classes. And it really, as a homeowner myself, it opened my eyes to all of the possibilities, especially for people who maybe feel like home ownership is just completely out of reach.
Right.
What are some of the biggest barriers that you see to home ownership in Texas today, and how can realtors help those clients navigate them?
One of the things I tell realtors when they take the Texas Affordable Home class that we're talking about is that they're going to learn a lot of information that they didn't know, and will probably think about a lot of clients that they probably didn't help get into a home because they didn't know about this information. So since Texas is, we don't have any state income tax, our property taxes are extremely high, some of the highest in the nation. Between 2019 and 2023, the median home prices in Texas rose by 40%. Mortgages, the interest rates increased by nearly 8% in 2023. Homeowners insurance premiums in Texas have increased significantly with the rates are 6.9% in 2021 and 11.8% in 2022. Insurance is keeping a lot of people out of purchasing a home right now. Texas faces a shortage of almost 306,000 homes due to underdevelopment. And so we've got to understand the housing supply. We've got to understand how to help people get into homes. We've got a lot of development regulations that's hindering the construction of affordable housing. So we've got to be able to help our government even understand the necessity, and some of the restrictions that they put in place. We've got to, allow some of those restrictions to be either removed or they've got to, allow some kind of way for there to be some additional incentives for affordable housing. A lot of Texans, especially in the lower income brackets, find it challenging to afford home ownership. It's just a fact, right? In 2023, the median family income in Texas was just 7% above the amount that was needed to purchase a medium priced home. Just 7%. And so we've got to find a way to help people become homeowners because home ownership is one of the foundations for increasing wealth and their resources. So realtors got to know about those resources and help people get into those homes.
Absolutely. It feels like it is just a responsibility of every realtor to be aware of some of this information. I think a big, go ahead.
What, I was just gonna say, one of the things that you had asked me also is how can realtors help their clients?
Yeah, yeah.
They can learn about the programs, right? So that they can inform their clients about the down payment assistance programs, the first time home buyer incentives, and then other financial resources that are available to help alleviate those upfront costs as well, right? They've got to stay informed about the local market conditions, the affordability trends that are out there, so that they can recommend clients to areas where homeownership is more attainable. The client may not know that those are certain areas that they could live in and actually own a home. And uh, we're not steering, but we're just telling you what some of your other options are. They can invest in tree pack, right, and volunteer with our local advocacy because we do a lot of affordable housing reforms. We work on property tax adjustments, increased housing supply. All of those things are problems with systemic barriers to homeownership. And so, as realtors, when we're investing in tree pack and when we're volunteering with our industry, we're helping to alleviate some of those things. We're having a voice. We're allowing people, our constituents who are making laws and rules, to understand the barriers to homeownership. They can assist their clients with understanding the full scope of homeownership costs, right? Help them understand about insurance and taxes and maintenance and be sure that they're financially prepared for the responsibility of owning a home. A lot of times people are just not ready, but sometimes we'll put them in a home and they're not ready and we don't educate them. And no one else is educating them. So as realtors, we should take the time out to educate our clients a bit more.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. A big piece around education is dispelling misconceptions. What are some common misconceptions that you hear about affordable housing that you'd like to clear up?
Yeah, we get a lot of NIMBYs, right? Not in my backyard. People don't want affordable housing to be around them in their subdivisions. One of the misconceptions is that affordable housing is the same as public housing or Section 8 housing, when in reality, affordable housing is really where housing and homeownership is, the cost is no more than 30% of a person's income, their household income, right? 30%. So if we stay within 30%, it doesn't matter what your income bracket is, it's then considered to be affordable housing. Public housing and Section 8 housing there are more specific programs within a broader category of affordable housing, but it's a misconception. Affordable housing lowers property values. In reality, multiple studies show that there is no consistent link between affordable housing and decreased property values. As a matter of fact, when people start building housing, property values start rising because the price of housing has begun to rise as well, right? Well-designed and professionally managed developments often blend into neighborhoods, and you can go to some neighborhoods and not even realize or understand that there are affordable housing. It doesn't blight the communities. It helps to improve the blighted areas in our communities anyway. Only unemployed and low-income people live in affordable housing. Reality is affordable housing often serves working families, our seniors who are on very, very limited income, and then essential workers like our nurses, our teachers, our police officers, who are sometimes priced out of the market of housing. Our cafeteria workers, the people who clean our schools, the bus drivers, right? All of those people that we rely on a daily basis that help us with our children, our daycare workers. They need to have affordable housing as well. And so we've got to understand that it's not just about those who are unemployed or very low income. Affordable housing increases crime. There is no link to crime and affordable housing. Those are other systemic issues within our community. And so that's another misconception. Affordable housing means that it's low quality buildings. Affordable housing developments generally have a higher standard. And because of the funding that's used for the affordable housing, they have a lot of compliance with construction and maintenance that they have to have, very strict compliance with construction that they have to deal with. And then affordable housing is a government handout. It is not a government handout. Many people, at affordable housing, it does help pay rent. But it's not a handout because a lot of the people that are on Section 8 and that receive rental assistance and things of that nature, that receive these grant programs, they have jobs. They're working people. They just don't make enough money to afford the housing that's available now. Everybody wants decent housing and everybody deserves decent housing. And there are programs and there's resources to help them get there. And as realtors, we can teach them and educate them about these resources and help them to gain affordable housing and live within the communities that they're already struggling to stay within, because the resources are available and we're showing them, we're directing them how to get to those resources.
Thank you so much for sharing those. For those of you that are tuned in live, if you have questions for Zelda, type those in and we'll get to as many as we can. So far, we're just getting some good mornings, and thank you, Zelda, for keeping us informed. They're loving this information that you're sharing so far, so thank you for that. So let's talk about education a little bit. How does agent education and client education help expand access to homeownership? And what kind of impact have you seen when realtors really take a positive approach?
Great question, Christina. Told you had some loaded questions here for me today, didn't I?
Yeah.
And agent education and client education, they're two of the most powerful tools in expanding access to homeownership, especially to the historically underserved communities. Awareness of programs and policies helps to educate the agents and helps them to stay current on down payment assistance programs, the first-time buyer incentives, and loans such as FHA and VA loan options, and then the local housing initiatives as well. Fair housing compliance and advocacy, right? We've got to train more on fair housing and help realtors to identify and eliminate biases, intentional or unintentional. Sometimes, when we learn and understand biases, we can really begin to recognize some of the unintentional biases that are out there and that even realtors give towards their clients. A well-educated agent can serve as an advocate for their clients facing discrimination and systemic barriers. It helps us to negotiate better. It helps us to structure our deals even better because it helps us to understand the lending guidelines. It helps us to understand grant programs and how those grant programs can layer with loans in order to help people get into homes. Helps us to understand credit even more so, and how credit even affects the loan products that the buyer is able to get into, the interest rates that they receive, how it helps them, how it affects even their insurance and their other things that deal with homeownership. A savvy agent will partner with credit counselors. They'll partner with community development groups and nonprofit lenders who are out there. It helps the clients to understand the process of purchasing a home. Everything from budgeting and credit to the closing process. It helps them to understand everything that it has to do with the purchase of a home. I always explain to clients that buying a house is a process. It's not like buying a car. You don't wake up one day and go to the car lot and buy a car, or go to a builder and purchase a home and move into it like you do with a car. And so it's a process. Studies show that clients who receive guidance on credit and savings and mortgage readiness are more likely to sustain homeownership over the long term. And then it reduces the risk of foreclosure when we educate our buyers more. Many would-be buyers believe a lot of myths, like it takes 20% to buy a house, or they can't buy a house with student loans. And when we educate them, it helps them to understand that that's a misconception. And so it keeps them from disqualifying themselves, and helps them to understand that as realtors, we're here to help educate them and walk them throughout that whole process. As a proactive realtor, we see increased homeownership rates. Our bank accounts will increase because we're helping more people get into homes, right? And realtors will stop struggling. Some of the realtors that I find are looking for full-time jobs now because of their lack of sales. But if they understand these programs and they're able to help more buyers get into homes, then they're able to better take care of themselves as well, and they're able to do the business full time, serving the community and serving their clients as they desire to do, and not having to go get a 9 to 5 and then trying to serve the community as well. It helps with higher client satisfaction and loyalty. Probably 95% of my business now is referrals. Very little marketing do I do, right? I keep saying I need to do marketing, I need to do more marketing, but truth be told, I don't have the time because the phone rings because of other people telling people about the services that I provide. And it can be the same for our realtor community as well. It helps with stronger communities. It helps to build the wealth gap within families. It helps to stop the cycle of renting and the cycle of staying on a lot of government assistance programs when we help people understand homeownership and we educate them on that process as realtors, and we allow them to educate themselves as well, show them how to educate themselves as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much, Zelda. Some great examples in there. We had a couple questions that popped up while you were speaking. One was Bridget was just asking if you could repeat the name of the designation that we were discussing at the beginning of this program.
Sure. It's a Texas Affordable Housing Specialist, and it's a certification class that's offered by Texas Realtors.
Very good. Say was asking, what is the time? So this is, there's so many programs out there, but what is the typical timeline for a buyer to qualify for different programs that you see?
So it's going to be buyer specific, right? A lot of realtors and different people think that it's going to take 6 months for a buyer to get into a home if they utilize a program. Truth be told, if your buyer has been well prepared, when they put a contract on a house, they're closing within 45 days max. Generally, I say, give it 60 days, but generally between 30 and 45 days, your buyer's closing. There's no increased time for the most part for a buyer purchasing. Now, there are one or two programs. I think our city program and maybe our county program has a little bit more time, and they may require 60 days to close that house. But the buyer is getting a lot of money when they utilize these programs, and so it is well worth the wait. Just prepare them, and you be prepared as a realtor. And know that your client now is going to go and tell everybody else how you've helped them to get $50,000, $120,000 to buy a house. Can you believe that? A lot of realtors don't realize there are programs right now, $50,000 to help your buyer get into a house. I've got 3 on the market right now. All 3 qualify for $50,000.
It's amazing.
Through the city.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Well, let's talk about some of those programs and how can realtors really identify the programs and also connect their clients with these local down payment assistance or different housing programs.
So I would say, first of all, start with the Texas Affordable Housing Specialist class, right? Take the class, because we talk about a lot of the programs in the class. Not only do we talk about them, but we also bring some of the experts from the actual programs themselves into the class to speak to our realtors so that they can ask them the questions directly. They don't have to just rely on the instructor. They've got people from TSHAC, right? We've got representatives from TSHAC that comes in. We have representatives from TDHCA that comes in, representatives from Seth that comes in. We have a VA specialist and a VA loan officer that comes in and talks specifically about those loan products. So that it helps dispel those myths, and it helps you to understand the products themselves. It helps you to ask about the guidelines and what have you. I'd say get in touch with and understand our state and local housing finance agencies. You can Google that information. We've got some links that's going to be provided for you as well. You can check with the local municipalities and counties to see what programs are available. I mentioned to you, the City of Houston's got money to help people buy a home. Harris County has money to help people buy a home. Montgomery County, Liberty County, Brazoria, Fort Bend. There's funds out there all over. There are funds from the state that's available to help your buyers get into homes. And some of these funds can be stacked. These programs can be stacked with each other. Partner with lenders who are familiar with the down payment assistance programs. Your favorite lender that you use may not utilize these programs. And so find lenders who work within the community and help with down payment assistance programs, who specialize with the affordable buyer. A lot of our banks have resources. You've got to ask your loan officer, what money does your bank have to help people get into homes as well? And so you've got to ask questions. Network with your local nonprofits and community development corporations, your CDCs, such as Habitat for Humanity, NeighborWorks, Avenue CDC, the Tejano Center, the Urban League, the Houston Area Urban League. All of these different organizations build houses. They all have resources. They all have housing counselors that you can partner with, and they would love to teach you about the programs that are available. And then you've got to stay current with your local market, educate yourself, right? And so during your buyer consultations, you want to tell your clients about them. If you're not having buyer consultations, have buyer consultations, and then walk your clients through the process of purchasing a home. I don't go into detail about buyer down payment assistance programs during my buyer education, my consultation, but I mention them and I explain some of the processes of utilizing these programs, because there are people that will come to me that qualify and don't realize they qualify. There are even programs that your buyer who's already owned a home before, this could be their second home, as long as it's going to be their homestead, they can utilize some of these programs. So they're not all just for first-time home buyers, and they're not all just for the person that makes $20,000 and $30,000. People can make a decent income, but it's still not affordable for them to own a home, and they can qualify for these programs. So make
Yeah.
sure you follow up with clients also when you refer them out to these programs. Covenant Community Capital is another one that they should really be aware of and familiar with.
Wonderful. And we're actually going to dive deeper into some of the programs next week as well. We're going to be speaking with the Executive Vice President of Down Payment Resource. But I can just say that there's such a large number of properties in our MLS that qualify for multiple programs. So really, it's just something that I believe, like you said, all of our members need to be aware of. We had a few comments come in. Actually, and a lot of the links that Zelda was mentioning, you can see those in the chat. We are sharing those in the chat. Susie said she works with a lot of DPA programs. Sharon said, I love being a Texas affordable housing specialist. I could speak the programs and processes. So lovely. And people are wanting to know also how to connect with you, Zelda, which we could share at the end, but if you want to mention now, how can people connect with you and learn more from you?
Sure. So my company is A to Z Real Estate Consultants, so you can always Google me, right? You can always find me on har.com as well. My direct phone number is office number is 832-779-8229. 832-779-8229. And then my email address is my first name, Zelda and it's my company name, the letter 2, the number 2, the letter Z, realestateconsultants.com. So, yeah, we'd love to hear from you and work with you.
Very good. And Veda just had a wonderful comment I wanted to share. She said, when I started my real estate career, one of my first real estate classes was with Zelda Cain. She provides a wealth of useful information, and I'm sure anybody tuned in today can see that. So thank you so much. So, again, it's National Homeownership Month. Why is it especially important to have these conversations with realtors and also with prospective clients during National Homeownership Month?
Christina, we really should be having this conversation all the time, right? Not just during National Homeownership Month. But it is especially a good time because we don't. It's a great time to educate and inform realtors about the resources that are available out there, and so that they can assist their consumers with obtaining homeownership and to better educate themselves. And so I think it's extremely important that we have them now during Homeownership Month, because realtors should be out there talking about Homeownership Month, right? And so we're having this conversation during this time. It gives them more ammunition. It gives them more tools and more products to talk about in their social media posts when they're doing their reels and their videos and everything. They can tell them, I've learned some new programs and things of that nature to help educate the community. And so I think it's a great time. Too many in our profession don't know about these programs, and so we've got to educate them a bit more. And Homeownership Month is a great time to do so.
You've given so many great suggestions for our members. What's some pieces of advice that maybe you would offer realtors who want to better serve their clients looking for affordable housing options, or they're maybe working with potential clients that think homeownership is out of reach?
Again, take the class, right? Take the Texas Affordable Home Specialist class, and then start building relationships again with our housing professionals. If you're looking for housing counselors, if you didn't know that there were housing counselors, you can go to HUD.gov and then do a search on for housing counselors. I didn't put that link, I didn't share that link, but HUD.gov, and you can search for housing counselors that are near you and within certain zip codes. Talk to your lenders and find out if they do affordable housing. And if they don't, ask them who's their affordable housing specialist lender, so that you can find out more information about the products that they have and the information that they can share with you. Volunteer with nonprofit agencies. I mentioned several of those to us earlier, right? Avenue CDC, the Tejano Center. The Houston Black Real Estate Association offers homebuyer education classes every month, and those classes are free to you and to your clients to take them. It's an 8-hour class. It allows your client to get the certificate that they need in order to qualify for some of the programs. Most of them require the client to be educated and to have a certificate showing that they've done that. Advocate within our industry. Again, invest in TreePack. and volunteer with the local, state, and national real estate committees so that you can learn more about the bills and the laws that are being put in place that's affecting affordable home ownership. Your voice truly does matter in shaping a more inclusive housing market, and so we need more voices out there. We need more of our realtor community really out there advocating for home ownership. Treat each of your clients' journey with dignity by embracing the role of a trusted advisor, not just a salesperson. Show them that you care, and that you care more than just by opening the doors and taking them into a home and writing up a contract, but show them that you care by volunteering, by advocating, and share with them what you're doing. When the session was about to start, Christina, you were playing a video of our trip to Austin, right? Well, every other year we go to Austin and we talk to the legislatures about different issues that we're having within our community. We need more realtors to go. We have a couple of thousand that's there from all around the state. It's great networking opportunities. We build relationships and friendships with realtors from all over the state so that we can have more referrals going through that advocacy effort as well. But it also shows your clients that you're more than just trying to sell homes and make a big paycheck. You're really truly concerned about housing, and housing being more affordable to everyone, not just one or two people.
Fabulous. Thank you for sharing those pieces of advice. So the Texas Affordable Housing Specialist course, we've talked about it. People are obviously interested. Where can they go to learn more about this class and any other educational opportunities?
Sure. So HAR offers the Texas Affordable Housing Specialist Certification class, right? So you can just go to your education tab and search for the next class. They're probably going to give you a link, I'm sure, in the chat as well, that you can sign up for our next class that's coming up. And then also the state, I mentioned to you that the class is actually offered through the statewide. And so you can go to your Texas Realtors website and look for this particular class, the Texas Affordable Housing Specialist class as well. You can contact me to find out about other classes that we're actually hosting with other industries. That's just not this designation class, but we're always hosting classes and training realtors and our community on classes that are available. So feel free to reach out to me as well, and I can share information with you.
Excellent. Just a comment that came in from Peggy Pentecost that I wanted to share. She just said, do your part to keep the American dream for home ownership alive and help these first-time home buyers get into their first home. So great comment there. Well, Zelda, this has been wonderful. So many people are thanking you and in the chat. Is there anything else that you want to share with our audience today?
Sure. So, I told you I have plenty of information to share, right? I love talking about real estate. So don't forget that your big bank lenders have DPA and closing cost assistance for your buyers. If your lender, your loan officer that you're working with don't work with first-time home buyers, they don't specialize in affordable programs, they're probably not mentioning that they have money. And so you have to ask them, does your bank have any money that you can give my buyer towards their down payment or towards their closing costs? A lot of them have it. And so ask them. Some of the programs or some of the funds that they have may be income specific, where the buyer has to be within the 80 percentile to the 120 percentile of the area median income, but if it is, that means that that buyer that falls within that income bracket can purchase anywhere and buy a home and utilize those funds that your lender has. But if they don't, there are some census tracts that are specific to the funds from the lenders, because they have to give back so much into communities, right, into the communities that they serve in. And so the buyer can make whatever, as long as they're buying within a census tract, a certain census tract, and qualify for those funds that your lender has. But you have to ask them about that money, because they don't readily tell you about it. Also remember that the person who holds a Section 8 voucher or a VASH voucher or some other type of housing assistance voucher, that person can really actually purchase a home. They don't have to just rent. And so a lot of realtors don't realize that they'll turn down a person that's on a Section 8 voucher until they can't help them. But if you understand the voucher process and you understand the grant programs, they can actually purchase a home, and the money that Section 8 or VASH or one of the other housing voucher programs is paying towards their rent will actually pay their house note. And what these programs have really began to realize is that if they help a person get into a home of their own, that they generally get off the program within 15 years or so, and sometimes less than that, because that person, it builds their self-esteem up so much so that they go back and they get better educated, they get better jobs, they're excited to have their children in a home of their own and teach their children about home ownership until they work better, they work harder, they start earning more income, and they end up getting off the program, which then allows the program to be able to help other people who need the assistance as well. And then don't forget to follow up on those people that you help to get into rentals, whether they use the voucher program or not. That's your next client. That's your next buyer. And so you've got a whole year to work with them and to share with them the resources that are available to help them become a homeowner, with the resources that we've talked about today. And so they may not be able to save or understand how to save money. So teach them how to save and how to manage the money, and then what programs are available to help them actually get into a home much quicker than they ever realized that they could.
Wonderful. Well, Zelda, again, thank you so much. This has been so much great information, and I know you probably have so much more you could share, but we encourage people to look into the Texas Affordable Housing Specialist designation class that Zelda teaches. Of course, we've shared the link in the comments for you, and definitely connect with Zelda, because I'm sure she has so much that she could share with you on an individual basis as well.
I'd love to share with them. So thank you, Christina, for this opportunity. It is always a pleasure speaking with you, and I always love the opportunity to talk about homeownership and what's available to help our clients get into homeownership.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you were able to share this information with us today. Before everybody takes off, we want to just mention that next week we will be diving deeper into specific down payment resource with the Executive Vice President of Down Payment Resource, Sean Moss. So be sure to tune in next week, Monday at 9 a.m. for that discussion with him. Zelda, thank you again for your time today, and have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Christina. Bye-bye.
Bye.